What's up, fam? And welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 replay of BBI Talks. And I'm your professor, KARRIEMAH LOTUS. First and foremost, we extend our sincerest prayers of healing for our original scheduled guest for today. And we look forward to hosting him real soon. So please get well, okay? BBI Talks is the platform where Black business leaders and owners discuss issues that matter to us. Today's topic is police brutality. What if you had a body cam? Our featured Black business is Angel Tech, with its founder and CEO, Brother James Samuel Jr. This is a pre-recorded show that I'm featuring today, however, one that you simply don't want to miss. So, BBI Talks, you know what it is. Let's go.
We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. The earth is the kingdom of God. Glad that I know where I am. We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react, cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. Glad that I know where I am.
All right, now we are broadcasting live from RICE, which for those of you who are not in Metro Atlanta, it is the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs. Oh, wow. It's a beautiful place here, y'all. Our guest today is Brother James Samuel Jr. He has over 30 years of federal experience working for the U.S. Department of Defense. He has worked as an engineer, an F-15 fighter pilot, and an intelligence analyst. I tell you, without further ado, we are going to welcome to BBI Talks. What's up, Brother James Samuel Jr.?
Hey, it's a pleasure and honor to be here. Sister KARRIEMAH, I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show and to talk to your listeners today.
Well, we absolutely love having you on here, and especially someone with such a prestigious background as yourself. So we're going to dive right on in, if that's okay.
Please.
So what is Angel Tech, and how did you go about designing this particular platform?
So before I do that, I do want to level set with the audience to let everyone know that without my Heavenly Father, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit in filling me, I would not be here able to do any of these things. And so that's where I get my strength, all the ingenuity and innovation, all the favor and all the doors opening. And that's my source. So I just want to make sure that foundation set first.
Yes, sir. We love that.
Amen. So yeah, the Angel Tech is it is your own personal security system. You can think of it as your own personal body camera. And it is a live streaming, GPS oriented application for your phone that sends 3 different types of alerts to your family if and when you're in distress or duress. And when you need them most, you just swipe to the right, you start to stream that incident. Instead of it going to your social media account or staying on your phone where if something happens to it, it could be lost or discarded, or someone could decide to take your post down, or your family may not be your followers. It goes directly to your family members who are most likely to come to your aid and or pursue justice in that moment and every moment thereafter. And so it is really a revolutionary technology for families and for communities and for individuals to stay safe, to be free, and to ultimately meet all their life's milestones and be fulfilled.
So if you don't mind, I'd like for us to kind of delve into what is the mechanics involved in building an app. I think our viewers would be interested in knowing, what is, what are you incorporating? What type of skill sets? What is the process?
Yeah, well, applications are, I think it's really the 20th and the 21st century in particular's version of builders, of problem solvers. Right now, most of our tools and techniques, like we're interacting here through the internet, right? Most of our tools are now on our phones. I think we have more tools on our phone than we have in our garage, in our toolkit, and so all of our tools that makes our life in the 21st century better are really on our computers, on our watches, on our
Awesome.
So my brother, my sister, all of us are sharing the same library. So all of these streams are in this library, and with all of our locations. My sister, you'll love this because she's close to you guys. Let's see, I'll find my sister did a recent stream. Let's see if I can find one of her streams quickly. There it is. Okay, so her location is New Hope, Hiram, Lost Mountain, McClan, that area outside of Atlanta, right? So it tells me that when I click on her iris, it tells me how long it'll take me to get to her house, which is 9 hours and 51 minutes. And then when I hit go, it's going to pop up a route and show me how to drive from Virginia all the way down to Atlanta and how to get there. And so that's how the technology works. They can download that right to their phone, just like I just did. So my mom, who just checked on me, has that video, and she's probably either watching that video in its entirety right now because she has it on her phone.
That is amazing, brother. Absolutely amazing. I mean, I love it. I love it. And one of the things that comes to mind, since you said that it's going up into a cloud, that eliminates any storage issue.
Correct.
You don't know how long you're going to be recording for. And so not having to worry about storage is key. This is just an amazing app. And one of the things that I noticed is that, yes, we talk about police brutality, which is the topic of this particular show, but it can also be used for your elderly, your elders in your family, and really just kind of bringing everything current. Like, I think when I was growing up, the big commercial was, I've fallen and I can't get up, you know. And so, you know, bringing that to 2021 and beyond is this particular app, this technology. And I think this is just phenomenal that you have put this together, dear brother. So, okay, so this is available on what platforms?
It's on all platforms, Android and iOS. So it's in the Apple Store, it's in the App Store for iOS users, and it's in the Google Play Store for Android users. And it works around the world. So we already have some users in Australia. We have some in India, the UK, Canada, Germany. So it works anywhere in the world that you have a cell phone signal.
Amazing. Amazing. We're going to just take a quick pause. It's a break, a commercial break. We're going to highlight one of our sponsors, and then we're going to come back to the conversation. It is 30 past. We're going to get into the social issue and really kind of talk about the sentiments behind the technology. So here we go.
This episode of BBI Talks is brought to you by our proud sponsor, Abdullah Daniels Group, LLC. We are a full-service life insurance agency that represents multiple carriers in all 50 states. For more details, log on to our website at adgllc.org or call us at 404-561-7480. Abdullah Daniels Group, Life Insurance Agency.
All right. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors for always supporting BBI Talks. And we really appreciate all of your support. Those of you who are watching BBI Talks for the first time, we thank you for joining us. We have our wonderful guest from Angel Tech, Brother James Samuels Jr., and he has a wonderful app that he just stepped us through that is just amazing. I mean, you thought of everything, brother. You really did. And we will be downloading today.
Yeah, you know, there's a 30-day free trial on several of our plans. And so we have up to 9 different plans to fit different size families. And on our individual and our 4-person plan and our 8-person family plan, there are 30-day free trials associated with that. So I want to make sure your users know that they can drive it before they buy it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's talk about the sentiment behind the technology. What was driving you to develop this particular application?
My life, preserving my son's lives, creating something where they, the world in which they grow into and occupy is safer and more accountable. And it was really a father's heart towards my 2 beautiful brown boys.
Mhm.
And, you know, just over a year ago, right? This has been, yesterday was the first anniversary of George Floyd, right? Being asphyxiated, being lynched, being
Mhm.
strangled by a knee on that pavement there in Minneapolis. When I saw that, Sister KARRIEMAH, something truly broke inside of me that has not been the same since. I'm an engineer, you know that, you've talked about it. There's two different types of deformation in material science. There's plastic deformation and there's elastic deformation. If something elastically deforms, it snaps back into its original shape. When something plastically deforms, it's never the same again. You can't get it back into the shape it was. And I experienced a type of plastic deformation when I saw that. I won't ever be the same again. And so I realized that I have the right set of skills, knowledge, ability. I can do this. I've been in this sphere of geospatial analysis and national security for 30 years. I understand navigation because I'm a pilot. And I'm a Defense Department expert in navigation and safety of navigation. And so I was like, you know what? I have all the tools to solve and fix this problem. Let me get to work. And so I did. And I did it with a team, an amazing team, to get this into the iOS store in 105 days. We started, I announced it on 1 June that I can't take it anymore. And on 1 June. And so then on 14 October, this thing was approved by Apple in the store for sale. And then it took a little longer to get the Google version out. But we did that early this year in late January.
Wow. I completely share your sentiments. You know, one of the things that even my husband and I, we discuss very often, it's very difficult to watch my husband, watch my son walk out that door and not feel anxiety about it. I pray about it. However, it doesn't prevent me from feeling that angst about them leaving, not knowing if they're going to return, and if they do, in what condition, because unfortunately that is the state of where we are in this society. And that's why I gravitated so much to your technology and to the reasons in which you developed this application, because why it resonated with me so is because I understood it the first time I heard it. And when you talked about meeting at pain point, you met that pain point, you know, and that is the protection of my husband, you know, our sons. And it's not that we as women don't need that level of protection. Definitely we do. However, when we're looking at the amount of police brutality and who is being impacted the most, it's our men, it's our boys that aren't coming home. And so I can't thank you enough, dear brother, for developing this technology. It's a shame that we need it. But this is where we are. This is where we are. I also wanted to ask you, you know, when you talk about being able to have access to your footage, I don't know if maybe you can kind of delve into how is that different from what we have experienced before about access to the footage if something were to go wrong.
Yes, I'll talk about the footage and the access to the body camera tape in a second, but I want to acknowledge Sister KARRIEMAH, Professor Lotus, that pain that you just described. I want to take a second and not leave that quite so fast, because that pain is 402 years in the making. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is, you know, 200 generations or so worth of pain, or maybe 20 generations. The generations about, you know, 20 years or so each. That pain is deep. It's a part of the fabric of who we are as a people, as African Americans, as part of the African diaspora. And women, our Black women in particular, you, my wife, and others like you, though Black men have paid a heavy price with our lives being lost, but the emotional toll has fallen to you all, because you've had to pick up our community and carry it, because the fruits of your loins and labor has been sold on the auction block and asphyxiated in the streets and from trees. And that pain is, we're trying to just provide a salve to that. We're trying to give you a little more sleep. We're trying to give you a little more peace. We're trying to just, you know, comfort you just a little bit more. You got a whole bunch on your plate, holding our community together, holding the family together, holding your jobs together, you're holding it all. You're holding us all together. You're literally holding us up like suspenders, right? Mm. And if we and my company and I and our technology can help you rest, give you a little more peace, not to mention just the saving of the lives, right? But just to help you, the pillar of our communities, have more peace. That is what we are all about. And saving our lives, protecting our lives, letting you know where we are when we need you most, that's what we are all about. And that is why our technology is so profoundly powerful, because that problem is, we've not known. Think about Ronald Green's mother for a second down in Louisiana. Mm. She didn't know. How many Black moms don't know what happened to their babies when they walk out the door, and then next thing you know, if they don't come home, God forbid, now you're trying to, in all of your distress and anguish, you're trying to figure out what happened. Mm-hmm. And then you get a police report that says, oh, in the case of Ronald Green, he had an accident. And then the medical examiner goes, no, the wounds and the injuries are not consistent with a car accident. Mm-hmm. And the police lie, which happens because they're people. Mm-hmm. And now you have to expend more emotion. You should be comforted, but now you have to become an investigator to figure out what happened to your baby, and spend all kinds of extra resources and time just to figure out what happened, so that you can have some peace about knowing how they really died. Because you were there when they came into the world. That was you. And you would at least want to know how they went out.
That's right.
Right? And I have the privilege of having helped deliver my two sons. And those are the two best days and moments of my life. And so our technology is built to provide family and mothers, and Black mothers in particular, with the information about what has happened, what has happened. When Mamie Till figured out what happened, she wanted the world to know. Mm-hmm. And she left Emmett's casket open so we'd all know.
That's right.
Right? And her worst nightmare, she shared it with us so that to help it stop. Mm-hmm. And that is the sentiment around which this technology is built and based. Mm-hmm. And that's the heart of it. And I'll tell you right now, so help me God, if no one else other than Black moms ride with us, I'm okay. Mm-hmm. I am okay if it's only Black mothers that get down with us. Other mothers, Hispanic and LGBTQ plus and Asian American Pacific Islanders and everybody else can use this technology to help us save their lives and their loved ones. Mm-hmm. But it's the Black moms that we were built really for first. Mm-hmm. And I want you and all of the Black moms out there to know that you were considered first, not last and not never, but first. Mm-hmm. And that you are our target, our ideal customer demographic. You are the ones we want to be with first and foremost. And I don't remember the other question you asked, but I need to get that out.
No, and I appreciate that, dear brother. I really do. And that truly, the technology, but your words and the spirit of your words was indeed a salve. And so I greatly appreciate that. And you're right. You're spot on in terms of the emotional toll that we as Black women in particular suffer, you know, and it's very, very difficult to watch. It's very difficult to experience. I'm thinking about Anjanette in Chicago, who was left naked
She was a social worker who just got off of work. She was preparing to hop in the shower like we all do, right? And the police bust down her door and they were looking for someone, and she's screaming at the top of her lungs, "You've got the wrong home. You know, why are you here? Please stop." And out of all, I think it was maybe 15 officers that came into her home.
She was naked, sitting on the floor that whole time.
Standing, and not one officer covered her up. Not one. And when they were questioned at the tail end, when they're getting ready to leave, is when they get her something. But that entire time of them breaking down her door and going through her home and ransacking it and doing everything else that they do, they left her there standing but naked. And no humanity in any of these officers said, "Wow, she's naked, get her robe." Nothing. So when you talk about our experiences from transatlantic slavery, Jim Crow forward, that is a repeat of that type of behavior as it relates to our treatment as women, as it relates to our treatment as men. You're so spot on when you talk about the lynching of a George Floyd. He may not have been strung up by his neck, but the impact of the pressure that officer laid on his neck is the same as actually putting a rope around his neck. It crushed him and it took his life. And so I'm grateful to those who were able to record the incidents. But even I watched most of the days of the trial. And one of the things that I noticed when we're talking about footage, and that was the original question, or the second part of the question, when we're talking about footage and it being used in the court of law, if it were not for the fact that there were several people that were standing out there witnessing it and filming it from different directions, I don't believe that Derek Chauvin would have been found guilty. They would have used some excuse, some loophole, but because there were people with different positions, as well as the footage from the stores whose cameras happened to be facing in that direction, under any other circumstances, he would have been found not guilty. And so when we're talking about this particular application and you're sharing with us the positioning of our camera and things of that nature, if you could please share with our viewers the importance of footage, especially when we go to trial, because ultimately you want to fight this. You want to fight to get the truth of what has happened with your loved one. Yes,
and you're right. The impact of video, and everybody understands this now because of the 3-count conviction of Derek Chauvin, the power and the accountability of video. Everyone understands this now, I think, clearer than ever before. And our technology is built on that premise that with video comes accountability, or at least the chance for accountability. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, I was sweating a little bit when I was watching the verdict, when the verdicts were read. I was watching it that day. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself and my team, if he gets off, we're finished. Mm-hmm. Because if you can have all that video and still beat it, then there is no hope, and video doesn't matter. But what we saw is video does matter. Mm-hmm. And there is accountability in that video. And so I was holding my breath when that verdict was read, because I'm like, okay, because if he doesn't get convicted, then video don't matter, but video does very much matter. Mm-hmm. And that conviction was a testament of that and the proof positive of it. So yes, at the trial, but before you even go to trial, mm-hmm. before that moment happens, you need, and you can have, so let's take any one of the other cases, mm-hmm. You can have that video so that your attorney can start working on, no, this is the real narrative. Mm-hmm. And there's two different courts. There's two different courts that any trial takes place in, right?
That's right.
There's the court of the law and there's the court of public opinion.
That's right.
Okay. And you can start to operate in that first, more powerful court first, because that court of public opinion sways voting.
Mm-hmm.
It sways buying power of a community.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you want to talk about accountability immediately. Let the court of public opinion render a verdict about some behavior of a district or a precinct or whatever. Then our buying dollars start to siphon away to somewhere else immediately, and people start to get very nervous.
That's right.
And so that accountability is immediately available through this. Now, you're going to have your day in court if you decide to go that route. And you know, and that's when a verdict of your peers will be chosen, or a jury of your peers and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you will then have the head start, and you will have the necessary documentation, forensics. You'll have the geospatial location. You'll have the GPS coordinates. And our technology updates those coordinates every 10 seconds. So as you're moving, that map is moving. It's showing every 10 seconds where you are. And I can show you a demo of that if you like as well in the previous video. So that is incredibly powerful to have working for you if and when you need accountability.
And does anyone have access to what is in that cloud?
Only the viewers, only people that have been registered by you as these are the people I want to have this. And you put in their email and their phone number, and then we send them notification that says you've been entered as a viewer under Professor Lotus's account for Angel. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to contact you and say, hey, I just got this text. Do you want me to be your viewer? Yes. I want you to be on my life insurance policy. I want you to come get me, come help me, make sure I'm okay. And then you guys talk about that. Okay, wow, it's like picking a godparent. You know, you're responsible for my life in so many ways. Okay, so it happens to me. I want you to be one of the people that know it and can help me in that moment or me after that moment, right? Mm-hmm. And so that is an arrangement between you and your viewers, but they're the only ones that have access to your footage. It's the ones you designate, and they agree.
And with this particular application, let's say, you know, there is a confrontation of sorts with a police officer. Can they demand that you stop recording or that you disable your app? Is that something that legally they can do?
You have to check out the laws in your area. In most states, in almost every state, there's a few states where the laws are a little like, you have to tell the police officer, I am recording you. Okay. And we recommend that anyway, just to make sure you know that they're being recorded in that moment. Okay, mm-hmm. Because once they see and know they're being recorded, and you can tell them, I am recording you and I am streaming this to my family, and they have a copy of this file right now, so that if anything happens to me or my phone, it's not a threat, officer, but I'm just letting you know they have this footage right now. Mm-hmm. And because it's in the cloud, if something happens to you or your phone, they have that footage like we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. And if it's a prolonged event, and let's say you're bird watching in New York, you know, Central Park, or mm-hmm. let's say you're jogging, or let's say you're doing any other pedestrian, black, wild, anything activity, right? If that's a prolonged event and you're close by, if you're like Elijah McClain in Aurora, Colorado, and you're just coming home from the convenience store, if you're Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, outside St. Louis, you're coming home from the convenience store. If you're Trayvon Martin in Florida, you're coming home from the convenience store. If you're in that teen age group where you're not old enough to drive necessarily, mm-hmm. you live in a place where you can walk or ride your bike to the convenience store, mm-hmm. something like this happens, and you pull this thing out and you start to let at least your parents know something's going on. Even if the phone drops and you're fighting for your life or whatever, they can hear that. They have the audio of it, and they have your GPS location, mm-hmm. and they are going to come to where you are.
Right. And
that will make a difference by itself. You know, and so it's all baked in for either in the moment or after the moment accountability. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's important that we have these tools to protect ourselves in our community.
Awesome. And I know that you mentioned earlier that you're looking at potential kind of evolutions of this technology into, I guess, medallions of sorts, things that you can wear around your neck. Do you know how far along in that process? Well, I guess you would know, but how far along in that process are you? And do you anticipate a rollout of that anytime soon?
Not soon. We are researching that, figure out how we can. I mean, that's a hardware solution, right?
Okay.
And so right now we're focused on software and using the hardware that you already have, which is your phone.
Right.
And we are looking with an eye towards different wearable technologies and integrate our technology, Angel Tech, with those technologies. Medallions is one. There are others I won't get into because of the proprietary nature of our research and development. But yes, we are looking at other ways to take this beginning step. Angel Tech is step one. There are other technologies we're developing. And truth be told, Angel Tech wasn't the first tech we were developing. We started developing something else until George Floyd happened. And then we made this our priority. But the other thing we're still developing, and it's more powerful than Angel Tech.
Wow. Awesome. Well, we're getting down to the final minutes. I tell you, the hour goes by really fast. If you wouldn't mind sharing, please, your contact information, how people can download this app, and any other information that you would like to share with our audience.
Well, I first want to say thank you again. It's been a real honor and a pleasure and a treat to talk to you and your audience today. First, I would ask them to go to angel.live. Okay. www.angels, angel with a J, ANJEL.live. And some people pronounce that .live, but we choose to pronounce that domain as .live. And we chose it for that reason, because we want you to live first, so that you can then be free, and that you can then pursue happiness, fulfillment, and your purpose, you know, that God created you for. So angel.live is where we want everyone to go. And there you'll see our testimonials, and then you'll have the option to get your 30-day free trial. There's also some other police interaction information we can share with you in that moment through an order bump that you'll have access to only there. And so go to angel.live. That's where we want everyone to go. Now, if you want to go just directly to the App Store or the Google Play Store, you can certainly do that, but you're going to miss a lot of information that's in that site. And then once you have the app, then go back to angel.tech, ANJEL.tech, in order to see our setup videos and see other information that can help you really set your app up. Or you can go to our YouTube site as well, Angel Tech on YouTube, to see our setup videos. So that's how people can get our technology.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm sitting here thinking about a lot of the nonprofits that work here in the metro area that work specifically on violence. I know that they would absolutely love to be introduced to your technology. So I'm going to make sure that I share this information with them, share this show with them, so that they can make sure that they share it with their young people and the mothers of others who have either been the victim of police brutality, whether themselves or their children, to help as a preventative measure for other children in the community. And I really put a charge to my viewers to do the same. You know, let people know about this technology, download the technology, you know, at the very least, try it out. It definitely won't hurt. It would only help. Because we have to have other ways of being able to document the things that are happening to us. We can't just suffer through the trauma and not try to document and pursue justice.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're entering into conversations with the Black and Missing Foundation, you know, because of our missing, we go missing and don't get found, you know, as often as other majority, you know, cultures. And so missing people is another use case for us, missing persons, human trafficking. You mentioned elder abuse, domestic violence, and we have an integration later that's a domestic violence setting for the app that we're building in specifically for that use case. And then, you know, all the other cultures, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, LGBTQ plus violence, you know, Black trans lives especially, you know, are just catching it, right? And so all those other use cases are there for the technology, and it works the same way.
And I'm thinking about, you know, even on a lighter note, children who are latchkey children that are having to walk home by themselves, and, you know, mom or dad is working. They're not there to escort their children home. Here's a technology that you can actually walk right with them virtually. And know that they got to the house and that they're okay, they're safe, and nothing happened, you know, coming to and fro. I think it's applicable even in that scenario. It doesn't have to be quite as much of an immediate danger. It could be just to make sure, like you said, that peace of mind of knowing my child is where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and you have the GPS coordinates to prove it, because it updates every 10 seconds. They're exactly, you can see on a map, yep, they've entered the house, they're in the house. Yes. Okay, they're in the living room. Okay, great. You're there, you know, you have that reassurance.
Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for honoring us by being on this show. Prayerfully, it will not be the last time that you join us. I'm looking forward to all these other evolutions of your technology. I want to thank those of you who joined us here on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. We're going to give a little bit more love to our sponsors, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Your audience.
God continue to bless you as well as your beautiful family.
Thank you.
This episode of BBI Talks is brought to you by our proud sponsor, Abdullah Daniels Group, LLC. We are a full-service life insurance agency that represents multiple carriers in all 50 states. For more details, log on to our website at adgllc.org or call us at 404-561-7480. Abdullah Daniels Group, Life Insurance Agency.
Well, we have come to the end of another episode of BBI Talk, Season 2, Episode 4, Police Brutality. What if you had a body cam? And our guest, Angel Tech, with the owner, founder, and CEO, Brother James Samuels Jr. We thank you so much for joining us. We are here every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, having conversations, talking to business owners and business leaders to discuss issues that matter to us. And today was no different. Please be sure to like, to share, to subscribe, and also turn on those notifications, fam. So that way, when we go live, you'll be right here with us. I am your host, your professor, KARRIEMAH LOTUS. See you next week.
We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react. Cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. The earth is the kingdom of God. Glad that I know where I am. We gotta bring businesses back. My business is black. My business is black as the universe. I know why they mad. They gotta react. Cause we're universal influencers. I can supply you the man. I can supply you the man. Get what I need out the land. Glad that I know where I am.